Welcome everyone, this is Honest Restart, and this time we're talking about how Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is sort of impacting my expectations for both Zelda's 35th anniversary, the Smash DLC, and just overall Nintendo's plans going forward. Now before we jump into things, I want to quickly talk about my social media. There's a Twitter page, a Discord community, a Patron page, and a Twitch channel. If you are interested in any of that, check it all out, it's linked in the description below, and of course, if you like what you're seeing here, also subscribe. So I actually had several different takeaways from the Age of Calamity reveal that I found to be quite interesting. Now, before this game was revealed, we talked about several things months beforehand. One of the things we talked about was that for November, it made sense for Nintendo to release some sort of game because if Pokemon's not having a physical release this year for November since they're doing DLC, Nintendo would launch something else for November. And we also talked about how maybe 3D All-Stars, at the time we were calling it the Mario Remasters, would maybe come out for September. And if they come out in September, then that wouldn't be the holiday release for this year, so Nintendo would need something else. But on top of that, we talked about how Nintendo seems to want to come out with a major Zelda release every single year. And when I say a major release, I mean like a $60 game. But I wasn't entirely sure that Nintendo would be doing that this year because we're at least getting that Cadence of Hyrule re-release this October, and the Zelda anniversary is just a few months away this February. So I was thinking that it wasn't a rule that they had to stick to, and that maybe they would hold off for a few months before they release something that I would consider a major Zelda release. But because of that uncertainty, we did definitely speculate that maybe Nintendo will come out with a Zelda game this year. I was debating maybe Skyward Sword HD, but even that felt weird because it would be another remaster in a year filled with ports and remasters, and that ratio between original games and remasters would be very drastic, and it kind of made sense for Nintendo to come out with an original game. So when you think about it, when you piece all those different pieces of evidence together, all the signs were sort of pointing towards a game like this. But of course, I don't think anyone really predicted this. I was thinking something would come out in November, and maybe it could be something Zelda, but I didn't expect this, and I'm obviously very excited about it because I think it's really great. We're getting a prequel, and while it is Hyrule Warriors, which not too many people are excited about, Nintendo and the Zelda team are working closely with Koei Tecmo on this, so the quality of this game is going to be far greater than any previous Warriors game. So I think it's going to be a good game, and I think it's going to be worthy of the November time slot considering that this is a pandemic year. So I guess one of my biggest takeaways is that Nintendo really does want to come out with a significant Zelda release every single year, and when I say significant, I mean like a $60 release. So in 2017 we got Breath of the Wild, in 2018 we got Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, in 2019 we got Link's Awakening Remake, and now for this year we're getting Age of Calamity, and next year it looks like we're going to be getting Breath of the Wild 2. But when that game is coming out, I'm not entirely sure, which sort of brings me to my next takeaway. Because we are getting this game, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, with all of these cutscenes that look straight out of Breath of the Wild, but they're telling the story of the Age of Calamity 100 years beforehand, we're getting that prequel story. So because of that, I feel like this is definitely going to be a holdover for the time being, and I don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be coming out too soon after. I feel like the earliest Breath of the Wild 2 could be coming out would be March 2021, but I feel like that would be too soon because of that window. That's only 4 months after this game. Is it possible? Yes, but I'm thinking Nintendo may want to wait a little bit longer. Breath of the Wild 2 is a huge thing, and it is something worthy of a holiday release for sure. Could it come out sooner? Absolutely. So my range here is March 2021 at the very earliest, but I'm kind of skeptical at this stage, and the latest in my opinion would be holiday 2021. It'll come out sometime around then. But here's the other interesting thing. Recently, this week, we got another report from Bloomberg, and we're hearing that a lot of developers are being told to make their Switch games 4K ready. So what's exciting about this is that it sort of lines up with the reports we've been getting about a Switch revision coming out for early 2021. The implication is that this system will be 4K capable. Now, 4K resolutions on any sort of Switch-related hardware seems kind of like a far-fetched thing to me, but maybe this sort of system could include 4K upscaling, which isn't as drastic, but will make games look a little bit better, notably better for sure. So maybe there will be a more powerful Switch where Nintendo will market improved visuals, and if that's the case, I feel like it's highly likely that Nintendo's going to want to pair that with some sort of major release or several major releases. Consider this, In 2017, we got Breath of the Wild to launch alongside the Nintendo Switch. In 2019, we got the Switch Lite, and that launched alongside Link's Awakening Remake. And in the same month, we also got Dragon Quest XI's, and that entire period was surrounded by several Nintendo-published games. 2021 is looking to be a really strong year. It really wouldn't surprise me if Breath of the Wild 2 launches alongside this Switch revision. Now, the reports are saying for early 2021, so I feel like if Nintendo could, they definitely would try to get this out for the fiscal year, which would be March 2021. But considering the pandemic, and because Age of Calamity is coming out this November, I feel like 4 months between this and Breath of the Wild 2 would be too short, and there have been so many delays with the pandemic, I feel like it makes sense to think that maybe this will be coming out a little bit later. And I guess another thing to consider here is that Breath of the Wild 2 and the Switch revision don't have to launch alongside of each other. Maybe Breath of the Wild 2 comes out for the holidays, and they have some sort of special bundle with that game with the Switch revision, but the Switch revision comes out earlier in the year with other games. We're already getting 3D World Deluxe this February. Maybe Nintendo has other games lined up around that time. That's a possibility. There are rumors that a Monster Hunter game is going to be announced for Switch really soon. Maybe that could come out alongside the system, kind of like how Dragon Quest XI's came out alongside the Switch Lite or close to it. Something like that could be happening, and Monster Hunter is a really big deal, especially in Japan. So I think Nintendo, in terms of their financials, will think that'll be a really good move. The ultimate point I'm trying to get at here is that Hyrule Warriors, to me, suggests that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to take a little bit longer. It's not going to be that March game. Is it possible? Yes, but that's not my realistic expectation anymore. That's more of an optimistic expectation, a best case scenario at this stage. But also, I'll say that because of these 4K things that are coming up, that suggests the Switch revision is going to place a lot of emphasis on improved visuals, and if that's really the case, that gives Nintendo more reason to have Breath of the Wild 2 be a graphical showcase for this new revision. So maybe there's a middle ground here and it comes out this summer. That would be great, but we'll have to wait and see. But Breath of the Wild 2 probably isn't going to be Nintendo's only big game that they want to use to help celebrate Zelda's 35th anniversary. And I actually am starting to think, one of my other takeaways, is that Hyrule Warriors could be the beginning of that epic celebration for Zelda's 35th anniversary. We're starting things now in November with Hyrule Warriors. Because it may be too soon for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this March, maybe we get something else instead. Maybe we get like a Skyward Sword HD, or some sort of Zelda collection. Maybe Ocarina and Majora's Mask make it to the system at some point. Maybe Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD. Maybe we see eShop releases for the Oracle games. There's a whole bunch of Zelda options here that could come out at some point in the year, and I feel like at least one or two of these things will come out in between the release of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and Breath of the Wild 2. How I'm sort of visualizing things right now is that we're getting Age of Calamity this November, and then maybe around the March period, which isn't too far removed from the February anniversary for Zelda, we see maybe Skyward Sword HD. Then maybe later into the year, maybe as late as November, but hopefully a little bit sooner, we see Breath of the Wild 2, and by that point, if the Switch revision is really coming out, it'll already be out, but maybe they'll have some sort of special bundle for Breath of the Wild 2, and it will greatly showcase the improved visuals of this new Switch. And in between these major releases of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, Skyward Sword HD, and Breath of the Wild 2, they have other games, maybe like Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess, or the Oracle games, or other Zelda games released on the eShop. I think there's some serious potential there, and this year could be filled with a whole bunch of Zelda. But another consideration here is that maybe they won't completely bring out every single Zelda game. Maybe they'll save a few more for other years on the Switch. As we've seen with Hyrule Warriors, it really does seem like Nintendo wants to come out with a major release every year. What are they going to have for 2022? Maybe they'll save Skyward Sword HD for then, or some sort of collection including Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. So maybe we don't see everything this year, maybe they hold a few things back. Of course, by 2022, maybe at that point, it's time for a brand new 2D Zelda. We haven't gotten a brand new 2D Zelda, we just got the Link's Awakening remake, so maybe we could see something like that in 2022, and still, for Zelda's 35th anniversary in 2021, they have a slew of older games come out on the system. But as we've seen with Mario's 35th anniversary, it isn't just going to be straight up game releases that Nintendo's going to use to help celebrate the anniversary. There's going to be merchandising, there's going to be a game event, there may even be DLC that is used to celebrate the Zelda's 35th anniversary. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting any sort of Mario Smash character. I feel like the fact that we got the Mario Anniversary Direct and they didn't announce a Smash character and we're kind of close to that time for a Smash reveal, definitely suggests that there isn't any Mario character planned for the Mario Anniversary celebration for Smash Bros. But for Zelda, it might be a little different. We've actually seen Sakurai bring up Princess Zelda from Breath of the Wild and talk about how she could have been a playable character, but really she didn't have any sort of fleshed out moveset from Breath of the Wild, so they didn't go ahead and do that. But here's the interesting thing. With Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, guess what we see? Princess Zelda fighting. So, maybe she's gonna have more of a developed moveset now because of Age of Calamity. And it's not just gonna be her, all the champions are gonna have expanded movesets as well, and whatever other character they may bring in. For example, we've seen some shots suggesting that Impa will be in Hyrule Warriors, potentially even playable. Because it's 100 years in the past, Impa's no longer an old lady, she's gonna be a young woman, and we've seen Impa be a fighter in other games, so maybe she'll be a fighter in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and maybe that could potentially give her an opportunity to be a playable character in Zelda. Impa is a recurring character all throughout the series, so if you're gonna bring in another character from Zelda that is known, I think Impa probably would be that character, and with the Zelda Anniversary coming up, maybe Smash Bros. Will announce another character and it'll be Impa. Considering that Age of Calamity is coming out now and the Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out next year, maybe Nintendo will help to use Smash Bros. To push the anniversary, but also advertise Zelda a little bit more. Nintendo has definitely used Smash Bros. To advertise different characters, such as Joker and Byleth from Fire Emblem, so I really wouldn't be surprised if another character is announced for Smash Bros. But as I already noted, Zelda's anniversary is this February. So I think if there is going to be a Smash character reveal for Zelda, I think it'll be around then, not now. Which means the next Smash character will probably be something else. Who's that going to be? Well, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be some sort of third-party character, maybe Travis Touchdown or Ryo Hayabusa or Crash or Rayman, something like that. I don't think we're going to be getting a Zelda character next. I think maybe early next year, around February, there could potentially be an announcement for a Zelda character. That's what I'm sort of thinking / hoping. We shall see. Now, I actually have one more takeaway from this reveal for Hyrule Warriors, and that's just that Nintendo is talking about their games again, and they're starting to build things up for next year. So, 4 weeks ago, we got the Indie World Showcase, and then the week after that, we got the Partner Showcase, and then the week after that, we got the Mario Direct, and then the week after that was this week where we got the reveal for Hyrule Warriors, and maybe we get something else like a Smash reveal, we'll see for next week. But the point is, Nintendo is talking again. They have reactivated, and they're giving us some interesting things. If we go back a month ago, or a little bit beyond that, things were looking pretty dismal for Nintendo's holiday. But now we have 3D All-Stars for September, Pikmin 3 Deluxe for October, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity for November, and maybe something else could come out in December. We shall see. Point is, things look a lot better now than they did a month ago, and Nintendo is talking now. We're going to get more news about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity later this month at the Tokyo Game Show. Maybe they give us a teaser for something else, but I'm not going to expect that. Point is, they're talking more, giving us more information, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a prequel story. It's giving us more lore about Breath of the Wild, and I really feel strong about this game being a really good lead up into Breath of the Wild 2 for next year, and also the start of Zelda 35th Anniversary celebrations. There may even be some sort of story or hints in Hyrule Warriors for Breath of the Wild 2, and that's going to be a big deal when it comes to Zelda's 35th Anniversary. Nintendo's definitely going to use that game to push those celebrations. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is an exciting original game coming from Nintendo, and it's something we haven't gotten in a while from them, and that's really cool, and I think it's a sign for even greater things to come in 2021. Before I conclude this video, let me summarize my takeaways here. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity shows that Nintendo wants to come out with a significant Zelda release every single year. It also will build up some movesets for different Zelda characters, which could mean a Zelda rep for the Smash DLC, and they may use that to help celebrate the Zelda 35th Anniversary, and I think Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is the beginning of the lead up to the Zelda 35th Anniversary celebrations, but it also may mean that Breath of the Wild 2 might come out a little bit later into the year because they probably don't want to have that major game come out just 4 months after this story sequel of Hyrule Warriors. But because this game is a prequel going into the story for Breath of the Wild, they're going to be able to expand upon the lore, and that may hint at some things for Breath of the Wild 2, and it's basically the beginning of the marketing push for Breath of the Wild 2 next year, and Nintendo's now talking again, and it shows that Nintendo is ready to start releasing some significant games moving forward. So that's what I'm thinking what Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity suggests for Nintendo's plans. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.